when it comes to financial planning, everybody has things that give them trouble, right? With money, there's financial pain points that everyone deals with, but they're all different depending on who you are and what your life experience has been. But there are some common ones that are out there that Ryan and the team at Black Oak Asset Management work through all the time. We have 5 today we're going to talk through and discuss some of the real conversations that happen around them. That's coming up next in this video. Welcome into Perfect Game Retirement. Ben George with Ryan Ledden at Black Oak Asset Management. He is the president there, also a certified financial planner. And I like this conversation, Ryan, because we talk about reasons why you go work with an advisor, and it all comes down to pain points that people have that they struggle with dealing on their own. That really having someone in your corner that's looking after your best interest can really, really make a difference in your life long term.
Yeah, I mean, picking 5 points on this topic was kind of difficult because there's a ton, and again, it's different for every family. But I try to keep it to kind of 5 big ones that most, when people come to see us, these are most of the ones that we see. And again, we may do another show with another 5, and then another 5, and then another 5. But these are kind of the main ones that we see. But it is usually these pain points that just nudge people enough to be like, okay, I need to find somebody trusted that I can work with.
Yeah, there's probably a good chance that one of the pain points we talk about today is one that you deal with on your own. And if that's the case, great, because we're going to talk about kind of how you work through that and how you overcome those pain points with planning. Number one, Ryan, the fear of running out of money, right, before you run out of time. I think this is the biggest pain point. Probably, I would say the vast majority of people probably suffer from this pain point a little bit, or at least have it in the back of their mind at some point.
Yeah, this is probably the most common because the day of pensions are fading. Again, obviously, we work with a lot of pension people because we work with a lot of government employees, whether it's local, state, or federal. So they usually have a pretty good pension. We're here in Georgia in the Atlanta area, and we work with a good bit of educators, and they have a great one. The TRS here in the state of Georgia is awesome. They get a 3% raise every single year in retirement. But that's those people, they don't fear of running out of money because they know they're going to get a paycheck for the rest of their life. Some of them even 2 and 3 different paychecks because some have a county pension, some have a state pension, and some people have Social Security as well. But the days of private pension are just very, very few and far between. We still have some. My dad's one. He's a Southern Company guy, and they're a private company, and they they have a pension. So it's obviously publicly traded, but they do have their own private pension. So they don't have cost of living raises though. So whatever they retire at, they continue to get the rest of their lives. So that's hard to keep up, especially with the inflation we've had since 2020 essentially. Running out of money a fear of running out of money is a real thing because it's all based off of what you have brought in and then any income streams that you do have. So the planning process really comes into play. Obviously, we have software that can help people with all these different scenarios. We can have like way below market returns, sorta ish average, and even above average. The above average, I just click on that just to be like, hey, if the market does really well, you could have this. But we don't do our planning around that. We like to do more conservative rates and even like a worst case scenario type of thing. So the fear of running out of money is a real thing, but once you can kind of see that pain point ease away once they become clients and we start the financial planning part, not just the investment part, but the planning part, that's kind of the real nuts and bolts and how you can kind of cure this fear, if you will. Sometimes it's bad news. Sometimes it says, hey, based off of what you have and what you want, you have a realistic fear of running out of money at this age. So it's like, hey, we retire on less, we save more, we work a little longer. Those are the 3 solutions to that problem. So we run those scenarios to see what's feasible. And it's amazing how when we do run these plans for people, like even waiting a year or 2, what kind of huge impact that can make on making that money last even longer. So definitely fear of running out of money is relevant probably with most.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, hey, if it's going to be bad news, just go ahead and tell me now, and we can start planning accordingly. It's better to know than to not know at all and just guess. And again, that's where planning comes into play here if you have that fear of running out of money. The second one here, Ryan, again, angst around taxes. This is I think something that a lot of people deal with and struggle with finances is just having to deal with taxes, figuring out how much you're going to owe. Man, I'm worried about capital gains because it means I have to pay taxes. There's just a lot of angst that surrounds taxes and having to pay these every single year. And then obviously a lot happens in retirement as well. So how do you work around that? Because I think most people don't assume that financial advisors are dealing with taxes a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, tax planning is a big part of what we do. We even partner with a firm that does the tax preparation part, but we want to do the tax planning part. And there's so many different, when it comes to taxes, there's so many things to think about. When it comes to your Social Security, are you paying taxes when you're receiving Social Security? If your taxable income is high enough, then you pay taxes again when you get to retirement. What kind of account structure do you have? Like you said, you may have a very low basis or a very low dollar amount that you bought a certain stock at, and it has exploded. Good for you, but you're also going to potentially pay capital gains on that. But that's where the structure of, if your taxable income is low enough. Again, I said taxable. I didn't say income. Your taxable income is low enough. There's a chance that all those capital gains could be zero. Because if you stay in the 12% federal tax bracket, then those capital gains can be zero. But so it's all about structure, how you take money out, where you take money out from. It's a very delicate topic that we deal with. But again, if we can just save on taxes, just from that standpoint, from a planning standpoint, I'm not saying from a tax preparation standpoint, but a tax planning standpoint, that's a big thing there. And so if we can keep a few bucks in your pocket, it's amazing how long it sustains and makes that portfolio last.
Yeah, no question. So tax planning is a part of what Black Oak Asset Management does. And again, it's part of a good comprehensive approach to your retirement. All right, our third financial pain point, Ryan, to discuss is that fear of ending up in a nursing home. It's something that a lot of people don't want to face that reality, right? Don't want to deal with that reality and put it off a lot of times. So how do you help people work through that fear?
It's probably the most uncomfortable topic to talk about, to be honest. People just, they tighten up, they cringe, unless they've experienced it firsthand. Maybe they have aging parents who are going through it and they're like, I don't want that. I don't want my kids going through what I'm going through right now. So, and again, nursing home, obviously you say nursing home, you think of long-term care. Everyone wants to go to a long-term care insurance policy. Those can be a fix. Those can be. It's this day and age. It's difficult to get one. The underwriting's pretty difficult. The expense of it may not work into your budget either. But there are other ways to kind of fund that. But having that conversation about a nursing home, it's like we still think we're invincible and we're not going to need that one day, and you may not. But there's a lot of people that need something, whether it's you kind of age through the different types of homes you can go through, assisted living, full intensive care, mental care. So those are the things we don't want to think about. Mental illness is a real thing. There's a lot of people that suffer from it. It's in our family. So I've thought about it in the back of my mind, to be honest. But having that conversation is usually pretty difficult. But then when we bake that into the planning part of what's the solution to pay for that, what are some costs right now? What are the inflation rates of having to have care one day? So putting that into the plan usually eases people's mindset, having conversations about it when we bake that into the plan. But not having a plan, not talking about it is not a solution.
All right, our fourth pain point, another one that I think a lot of people deal with getting into retirement, is that uneasy feeling of walking away from a paycheck, no longer knowing, okay, every week or 2 weeks or monthly, whatever it is, that paycheck will be coming in. Now I've got to do it myself. That can be an overwhelming task for people.
It's paralyzing for some people. It is not, like you said, not having that paycheck come in bi-weekly, bi-monthly, weekly, monthly, whatever that may be. It's just your paycheck is now coming from what you saved, or a pension, or Social Security. But a lot of people need something to come from their investments. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, pensions have kind of gone away. Privately funded pensions have gone away. There's still some out there, but they're still, hey, how solvent are they? How long is this thing going to last? What kind of income does it produce? So we do a lot of pension calculations. Hey, is it better to take the lump sum, or is it better to take the pension? So there's a lot of variables that go into that. But just walking away from a paycheck is can be mentally paralyzing because it's just different. It's a different phase of life. And I'm still working, obviously, so I haven't had to experience that, but my job is to ease people's mindset when it comes to that, hey, your paycheck is now coming from Charles Schwab or Fidelity or whoever, and it's based off of what you saved and then what we put into the planning process for your financial plan. So, but again, once we do the planning part, it's amazing to ease the mindset. And what's really awesome in my job is to see when we do a financial plan and people say, hey, let's show it me retiring at 68, just making a number up. And then you do the plan, you're like, hey, we can actually do age 66 if you keep doing what you're doing, or maybe save, $1,000 more a month or $500 more a month. You can move that needle up 2 more years. So just seeing that in their faces is awesome. And I've seen it several times. So, just walking away from a paycheck sometimes is mentally tough, and it may take some time before you get used to that.
Again, that's where planning comes into place, right? To help ease your mind. That's a big one that people deal with. And again, why proper planning can really, really help you out there. All right. One last one to discuss here in this edition of our financial pain points, the anxiety of an impending market crash. I know we're always worried about it, Ryan. The market's up and down. We've seen some sharp moves in the last 10 or 20 years. So for those that have that anxiety and that feeling of the market eventually going to crash at some point, how do you help plan for that?
Yeah, when it comes to money, it's hard for pessimism not to creep in. Even when the market's doing well, it's like, okay, it's done well, so we're going to have a pullback. Well, not necessarily. We had a pullback in 2022. That's probably the most recent one. The markets were down across the board. Bonds were down, and those are seen as quote unquote safer. But obviously bonds took a hit because of interest rates went up. And again, I've said it before on the show, interest rates and bond prices have a seesaw. So if interest rates go up like they did in 2022, which basically quadrupled almost that year, bond prices are going to go down. So I had plenty of clients say, wait a minute, I thought bonds were safe. They're safe from market risk, but they're not safe from interest rate risk. So it's just that education process. But, when the market has a few good years in a row, which we've seen 23, 24, 25, and even halfway through, as the recording of this, halfway essentially through 2026, it's still done pretty well. So when those things happen, it's just everybody's kind of waiting for that crash. And again, that term crash, what does that mean? It's different for some people. How low can the market have a pullback, and how long will it sustain itself? So again, going back to the planning process, we bake that in to where the market doesn't do well at all. Does your planning still sustain itself? So we try to bake that in too. That way it just gives people a peace of mind on kind of a conservative rate of return, and then even a way below average rate of return.
Well, the thing is, nobody's going to go into retirement without feeling at least one of these pain points, having them in the back of their mind. And the good news is that, as you can see, there are answers to each of these issues and problems that you might face. They're all worth talking about, no matter if these 5 pain points are ones you deal with, or you got something else that's in your back of your mind. Have a conversation. This is a great opportunity to start discussing and addressing these pain points that you have in your life. And hey, what planning can I do to overcome these and feel good about the future and feel good about retirement? Because that's the name of the game, right? You work so hard, you want to be able to enjoy that next stage of life. And that's what Black Oak Asset Management can help you with. Go to speakwithryan.com to have that introductory call with Ryan. You can also go to blackoakam.com. All that is in the show description for you, the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcasting app, just check it out there. Click on the website. You'll be able to find that opportunity to schedule a call with Ryan and the team there. But again, we got more of these we might address in future videos, so please subscribe. But we appreciate you watching and listening to another episode of Perfect Game Retirement. We'll talk to you again soon. Have a great week.